Standing up for what is right and standing up for change is what makes her tick. It gives her strength and a clear sense of purpose. When inequality continues to divide us in myriad ways, with far too many women held back by prejudices based on their gender, ethnicity, race, sexuality, or status, and when the process of creating equality through empowerment of women is fundamental to the creation of social change, her contribution is by developing women leaders and role models for the future. For the past 20 years, she has been working with her team at Aspire to address equality and empowerment across the globe through a powerful mix of speaking and mentorship. Let me proudly present before you Dr. Sam Collins with her story. Welcome, ma'am.
Oh, thank you very much. I want to check that everybody can hear me and see me okay. And it's good for me also to know that you're all out there and, around the world listening to this. So please do let me know in the chat and say hi. Be good to see that. So thank you very much for inviting me to speak today. I set myself a bit of a challenge with regards to speaking. I decided that I wasn't going to do lots of notes and script myself and prepare anything. I was going to instead speak completely from the heart to you and share what I think is most important for us to really think about and feel about in these coming days. How is it that you're feeling right now? I woke up this morning and reflected that I feel a little strange. I feel a little sad. I feel like life is difficult right now. And I am very uncertain about the future. Yet there's something in me that also feels optimistic. And I can't quite put my finger on it, but I know it's there. And I know that whenever I turn on the news right now, or I read something online, particularly with regards to women's equality, the messages are not so positive. We're hearing that women's equality can be set back 25 years because of the COVID challenge right now. And that is a horrendous thought to somebody like many of you here who have been working to progress women's equality for that time or even longer. So this really is a time where we have to take a breath and we have to think about our contributions and how we can look after ourselves the very best we can right now, and also how at the same time we can make a difference. I'd like to really put a call out there for women's entrepreneurship. I was listening to the panel discussion before, and I understand all of those that are working to promote inclusivity and women on boards. And I know that the challenges that involve. At the same time, I know that there are many, many, many women around the globe who are working solo or working in small organizations that they have created, that you have created, in order to have control of our own destinies. And I strongly believe that women's entrepreneurship is the future of our planet. I strongly believe that women, us, you, are the ones that are and will heal our planet. You may be sitting there thinking, oh, that's not me. Why me? I've got too many other things going on right now, and how would I do that? But know that every move you make, everything that you do that is countercultural, that is rebellious in your own way, that does something against a social norm, every time you do it, as hard as it is, as fearful as you may be, every time you take that action, it could be a small or large action, you contribute to women's equality across the globe. I have always been rebellious. I believe I was quite a difficult child. And now I have 3 children of my own, and I see that in my kids and joke to myself about it. I remember I wanted to tell you a story about myself when I was a little girl. And I was remembering this recently. I was about 10, and I grew up in England. I live now in the US and the West Coast, but I grew up in England. And I grew up on not a very good part of town, shall we say. And I remember as a kid looking out of my window, and we were not allowed out of the area that we lived in because of safety reasons. My parents had a sort of boundary of where we were allowed to go and play. And when I looked out of my window, I could see a hill. There was a hill I could see. It was sort of far away over across the boundary of where we were allowed to go. And I would look at this hill and I would always wonder what's on the other side of that hill. But I knew I wasn't allowed to go there. One day I decided I've had enough and I'm going to go and climb that hill. So I packed myself a backpack, and I had a drink in there and snack, and I can't remember, I think I bought a book, and I sort of took myself off. I didn't tell anyone where I was going, and I walked out of the boundary of where I was allowed to be. As I stepped across that boundary, I had this sense of joy, a sense of rebellious, a sense of I did something I was not allowed to do. Ha. I also had a sense of fear. I hadn't told my parents where I was going, and I didn't know where I was going. I knew that there was a hill over there somewhere, but right now I'm on the flat ground and I can't really see it. And I start walking and, everything's okay. Finally, I get to this hill and it's much further away than I thought it was. And I'm tired, but I decide I'm going to climb this hill. I'm at the bottom of the hill and I can't see the top. And I'm starting to get cold and I'm starting to get hungry and I'm starting to get tired. But I decide I'm going to climb this damn hill and I'm going to see what's at the top. So I walk up to the top of this hill and I keep going and keep going and keep going. When it gets a little steep, I decide that I'm going to stop for a little rest. And I feel like I want to give up. I'm tired and maybe I'll just go down and maybe I could get home before anyone's realized I'm gone. But I don't know. Something inside me said, no, Sam, you go on. You've got to get to the top of this hill. So I climb and I get to the top of this hill. Can you see me there? Can you visualize this? So I get to the top of this hill and it's flat. And guess what? There's nothing there. And I'm really disappointed. I've climbed all the way to the top of this hill and there's nothing here. It's flat. And it's like there's another hill there. And my first instinct is to turn around and go home. Then I decide instead that I'm going to sit for a little while and rest and enjoy the view. I look to my left and there is this amazing church, big white church I'd never seen before. I look over and I see that there's another town. I look across and I can even see kind of my house and where I'm growing up. And I have this huge, for the first time, perspective. There is a whole world out here, Sam, that you didn't know about. And there's a whole place here for you that you can create things and you can do what you want up here. So I played for a bit and I danced around. It started to get dark, so I decided to go home. I walked down the hill and I could see, I kind of walked further towards where I came from where I lived. And I could see my dad driving around in the car. And he came along and he opened up the car door. And excuse my language, but he said, "What the fuck are you doing? Get in the car." And he dragged me by my hair into the car. Now, he was probably extremely worried and had been driving around for a long time. But as a child, I thought, what are you doing? I was just climbing a hill. Why do I have to ask permission to climb a hill? I got home, my mum was crying. My sister, I think, hadn't even noticed I'd left. I went to bed that night and I had a strong sense of rebellion in me, that I knew that I would never, ever stay in this town that I grew up. I knew that a global world was the one for me. And I knew somehow that I would do things that would make a difference, as much as you can do at 10. Now, I was reminded of this story right now because we are all in this place currently where we have a line drawn around how far we can go. What is it that you are allowed to do? What's allowed in your community? What's allowed in your business? Are you allowed to speak up? Are you allowed to swear like I did? Are you allowed to not wear makeup? What happens if you're not well presented? What happens if you want a divorce? What happens if you want to leave your corporate job and do your own thing? What happens if you're doing your own thing and you want to lead a corporate? What will people say? How will you deal with that? What happens when you climb a hill? What happens when people don't like it? How do you handle it? It's hard, it's difficult, but it is fantastic. I invite you to go and climb more hills. And one thing I know is that many of us, many of you have been climbing many hills for many years, and this is not unfamiliar territory. What's different though right now is that we need to be climbing these hills and mountains together. Isn't that right? That when we do it together, that we have somebody to talk to. We have somebody to hold our bag when it's heavy. We have somebody to have a joke with. We have somebody to help us when we can't climb, and we help others when they can't climb. And for me, this is what women's equality is about right now. So many, many women around the world have worked so hard to achieve the things that we're achieving. It's time for us to come together in community. It's time for us to work together even more effectively. It's time for us to be bolder. It's time for us to be even braver than we could imagine that we could be. Now, normally in the old world, we would set goals and we would say, okay, in 5 years' time, we'll have gender equality in our corporation. In 2 years' time, I will have achieved these goals in my business. Right now, it's all rubbish. It's irrelevant. How can we set these goals right now when we are on such changing and uncertain ground? The only goals we can set for ourselves are right now, today. How am I doing today? What am I going to do today that will make a difference? And how will I look after myself today? Because as women, traditionally, we have been known to not be the best at looking after ourselves. We've seen it as selfish. We've seen it as low priority. Right now, it needs to be not just right now, but for the future, it needs to be our number one priority. And if you're not very good at that, then enlist the help of others. See yourself on the hill and on the mountain with me. There's a whole load of us climbing this mountain together. And at the top, there is a fantastic view. There is a plateau where there is a place for us to create all sorts of amazingness, all sorts of new types of businesses, all sorts of types of entrepreneurship. And when I say entrepreneurship, I'm particularly passionate about social entrepreneurship that has a focus on social change and justice. And that actually this is the way forward for all organizations. In my view, there should not be for-profits and there should not be not-for-profits. There should only be socially entrepreneurial companies or organizations. Companies that focus on the triple bottom line of people, planet, and profits. And this is a wonderful, wonderful place to be. We are in these organizations where we control our own destiny, where we make the decisions, where we can influence change, where we can influence governments, where we can influence communities, where we can influence our families. And I know that this is the way forward. I have been doing what I have been doing now for 20 years, and I love it. I would never do anything else. I can't imagine doing anything else. I started Aspire when I was 29 years old, and I'm 49, about to turn 50. So I started Aspire when I thought I was getting quite old, 29. I was going to turn 30. And I did it because of the reasons that I told you, because I've always been this rebellious young woman. And I did it also because I had watched my mother, who was my role model as a woman in business, rise to the top of her organization in the financial industry, struggle with work-life balance, find her relationship with her husband and her family so challenging. Never was she to share it. She always would put a brave face on things until one day it was just too much. Until one day she took her own life. Now, as a young woman myself, witnessing my best friend and the woman that I trusted most and my role model just disappear overnight, it was a turning point for me, and a turning point for me to do what I had always dreamed I wanted to do, which was to start Aspire. And I would encourage all of us right now, as we are in this turning point, it is a time, it's a challenging, awful time for so many women right now. Yet there is opportunity here. There is a time to say, this is a time to say, okay, I'm looking out the window. I see that hill. I'm going to cross the boundary and I'm going to climb to the hill. Now, I want you to do it, though, with trust. I want you to do it knowing that you don't necessarily know what's at the top of the hill, but you trust, your instinct tells you that there's good things there for you, that there's amazing things there for you. And in that place, you will speak up more. You will do the things that you want to do. You will challenge the things that are not right around you. You'll be braver. You'll have more like-minded friends and community who will be spurring you on, and you will be spurring them on too. And that's a terrific place to be. Scary, but terrific. So join me at the top of the hill. And thank you very much for listening to my stories today.
Thank you so much, ma'am.
I am excited to see what will happen and hear what will happen as a result of this amazing conference. Thank you.
Thank you so much. That's what we are doing. We are just climbing the mountain together through this summit. And a lot of love is coming in. So
we can go on listening to sound. I'm so thrilled. So thrilling.
But we have to move on. We have the next speaker waiting. Our next speaker is passionate about harnessing the power of technology to create inclusive results-driven enterprise talent management systems. She is the co-founder of Headway.ai, a new age talent platform that specializes in talent intelligence powered by AI and behavioral science. Founded and led by a girl gang, Headway.ai is one of the few enterprise SaaS startups led by women. Let me proudly introduce before you to present her story, Ms. Sujata Mukhopadhyay. Ma'am, over to you.
Hey, hi everybody.
Hi, ma'am. Welcome.
Sam, that was such a smashing story. Just loved it. So I'm happy to, give my 5 minutes away or 10 minutes away to Sam and hear more about her stories than, my boring story. But here you go. So, Sujata, and I think it's fair to say that, as a girl gang who run Headway.ai, we have climbed a few mountains, a few hills. And I can tell you that the view from the top of those hills, the view is just beautiful. Yeah, it's a tough climb. When you climb, it's a bit painful maybe, but there's always that joy of climbing. But the view is just amazing. And like Sam said, it's a series of hills, right? So it's like a series of S-curves. All of us know the S-curve, yeah? So you climb one S-curve and you go on to you kind of conquer that, and then you go on to the next S-curve. Have a few more fights, and so beautiful. Sam, that was just absolutely fantastic. Hey, look, so I would have so wanted the rest of the girl gang to be here as well. But it's just that, fortunately, unfortunately, we have a few deployments that are going on just now. So, I kind of peeled myself out of one of those and just thought I just must have a chat with all of you. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to at least bring their picture to you, and I'm just going to talk you through what Headway really does. So let me just bring in PowerPoint if I can. Just give me one sec. All right, so there you go. And there you go. I just hope you can see us. Yeah. So,
Yes, yes, ma'am.
all
Yes.
right. Okay. So that's really the Headway gang. And just to kind of give you a little bit about what we do, and my story is pretty much the Headway story. So we are fundamentally a talent tech platform, and we generate talent intelligence for enterprises to ensure that you and I have a level playing field in our avatars as either a job seeker or as an employee in the enterprise. Yeah, and we enable companies to create. And I heard, one of my earlier speakers talking about democratization of the ecosystem. And so our technology really kind of enables that democratization to happen in that company, to ensure that not only just us women, but everybody who's really in that enterprise can have actually a level playing field and choose to do what they're best at. Okay, so that's the team that you see out there. So that's a younger Sujata that you see. And then there's Linda and Soma. So I go back many years, as you can see, in my career, many kinds of roles, many years in HR. And along with that, I've toggled between, corporate planning, TQM, as a very kind of, very interesting stint in large deal management, a very, very exciting stint setting up operations around Europe. So absolutely, very, very multidimensional. My last HR job was with Fidelity as a CHRO. And then I peeled off from there and joined a tech startup as their chief delivery and solutions officer. So pretty much all my days were really spent with customers, solving for their problems, creating solutions that kind of made sense and delivered results. So thoroughly enjoyed doing that. And while I was there, I sold in 3 markets: India, Asia Pacific, and Europe. And that's where actually I met Linda. You see the other girl wearing glasses, not the dark glasses. So Linda is a very, very dynamic tech HR person. She's more techie, and I would say she's more techie and less conventional HR. But her background is, global talent acquisition lead in Microsoft, in Myntra. Absolutely, perhaps one of the best talents that I have worked with. And that's where I met her. And, that company didn't really do very well. So the entire leadership team, we kind of peeled off. And then we said, hey, look, as HRs, we've realized that technology has failed HR. Yeah. So if we look at the entire HR tech ecosystem, we find it very, very polarized between very kind of, very clunky, old school HR tech that one uses for storing data, but really not anything beyond that. And on the other hand, you have very, very slivered point solutions that kind of solve for one or two of the employees' problems or the entire HR community's problems. So we said, hey, look, why don't we create an HR tech product that's truly new age, that really delivers outcomes and that actually creates that inclusivity and creates a talent marketplace, within the company, just so each person, each employee of the company finds the right groove and has a platform to really demonstrate his or her unique talent. So, this whole concept of talent marketplace where, through deep personalization, demand meets supply automatically. Yeah. So, so that is really, so we said, let's build that. And then while building that, I really must admit that we went through many conflicting motions. So we said, hey, I mean, what is it that we really, really want to achieve? So look, at the very core, what we really wanted to do was really break those barriers, that I heard the other speakers talk about as well. Break those barriers that exist, especially for women, as far as access to jobs, learnings, the kind of right levels in companies are concerned. So how do we kind of break those barriers? So that was really what we started with. And we said, hey, look, why don't we make this, why don't we create this B2C woman-only gig, where we will bring in all the kind of use cases that we are thinking about, and create a platform for only women, to kind of move forward. But then we stepped back and we said that, is that really what women do? Like Sam said, right? I mean, maybe the next kind of century really kind of belongs to us, and women are typically very, very inclusive, and bless us for that. So we said that's not us. So we should create something which is truly, truly inclusive, and that not just for women or for one community and blah blah. And we also had many of our male friends pushing back at us and we saying, hey, no, that's not a fair thing. You guys kind of, you guys have already always embodied fairness. So you should actually do something which is really, really fair. So therefore we came down and we said, all right, so let's create Headway.ai, which enables enterprises to create that level playing field, to create a democratized ecosystem where you and I, in our avatars as job seekers or in our avatars as employees, really, feel supported by that ecosystem to do our best. So that's how we started Headway.ai, and so when we just started that, we had our third co-founder join us, Soma. So she's a data scientist, studied in the US, worked in the US in companies like Salesforce, Visa, and there was one other company I forget. And she got back to India and joined us. And then the three, the girl gang really kind of started creating Headway.ai. So Headway.ai as a product really works out at two levels. There is a core engine, which that's our talent recommendation engine, which we've blended AI and behavioral science to kind of really power that engine. And that is what generates the talent intelligence for the companies. And on top of that, sit these three modules that you see in front of your screen: Hire, Evolve, and Compass. So Hire is all about, like I said, you and I, as in our avatars as job seekers. Hire kind of enables that whole candidate experience and enhances that. Now imagine a use case. Let's kind of, if you take a look around, you'll find every enterprise worth its salt getting thousands of CVs every day. And it's not really humanly possible, even if they have a huge HR team. It's not humanly possible for that HR team to really kind of look at every CV, really identify the unique talent that each of us, each of those kind of job seekers bring in, and really assess in a very, very fair way. And that is where, the headway drudgebot really comes in and has the ability to kind of, assess each job seeker, each applicant, and really help the applicant to discover what is unique, and the kind of contribution that that particular potential employee and applicant can actually bring to the table. So the board really runs a conversation. Of course, there's always a CV that the board kind of reads through like a recruiter does in seconds. But the board doesn't stop there, because many of us may not be very good at writing CVs. But if asked the right questions, we speak about ourselves a lot better. And from my experience, I find women not very good at writing, CVs that kind of, talk very well about their achievements. We kind of shy away from talking too much about about our achievements. But when asked the right questions, we express our abilities and paint a brighter picture of our achievements. So imagine the board coming in and asking you a bunch of questions, and you say all the right things. And then the board kind of, assesses those as well, analyzes those as well. And therefore, even if you don't have the right CV, you are not at a position of disadvantage just because you couldn't express yourself very well in that CV. So the board creates that level playing field for you to then participate with a whole bunch of other candidates, and really kind of, pushes you into that selection process. So that is, one kind of use case. Now imagine another where you are the employee. Similarly, may not be so expressive, maybe a little tongue-tied, or may not be putting your hand up for that next job that comes through. But you do fantastic work. And let's assume that Evolve, the Headway's Evolve module, kind of senses all that you're doing, because you're doing it on the platform, and it kind of analyzes. That's what the Headway system does. It continuously auto profiles people's achievements, people's interests, people's abilities, and really kind of presents a very holistic and very unbiased presentation of the profile, as and when a job comes up, or as and when, let's say, a learning module is looking for a teacher. So what Devolve does is it will automatically, in a very, very personalized way, would render job opportunities to the employees and nudge them to apply for the jobs which the system feels are very, very suitable, what we call best fits for those employees. And in order to kind of keep the employee future-proof and talent-ready, it renders a very personalized kind of learning dashboard. And when I say personalized, what I mean is we are not a Netflix of learning. So the learnings that we render are very, very focused on the needs of the learner and the way the learner learns best. So it is aligned to the style of learning. And the whole idea is to really kind of make that person learn best and actually learn up, bridge the gaps, the skill gaps or the competency gaps that the person may have, and make the person stay ready for that next job and for the future. And the other thing that Evolve does very well, and as a philosophy we believe in, is people learn best from people, exactly what we are doing today. So, what Evolve also does is it renders people to people so that we learn best from each other. And that's what we call the human library. But the whole focus is really, as I said, keeping each of us talent ready, future proof, and so that we can keep extending the runway of our employability and to extend that, a very, very fair kind of ecosystem.
Ms.
So that,
Sujata,
yeah,
I'm sorry to interrupt. We're
sure,
just running short of time.
sure.
Yeah, thank you.
So why don't I stop here? And if there are any questions, happy to take those.
You can conclude your presentation.
So I'm kind of done. And, I don't want to kind of get into all those technologies that we use and bore you with that. But the whole idea is that we kind of render, a very, very smart and awesome kind of experience to our users. Kind of really harness that girl gang power and make sure that we stay very, very sharply focused on what our users really, really need. So why don't I kind of just, stop here and take questions from the audience.
Okay, so I don't see any questions at the moment.
Yes.
Sure. So,
I
So
also
people would like to contact you directly and they want to talk to you. So that is what I'm seeing in the chat.
Yeah, right,
So yes,
correct.
they will do that. Yeah.
most welcome. Thanks very much.
Thank you so much, ma'am. It was really interesting, but we have to keep our time. Sorry to interrupt you in between. And now we have one more speaker with us, Francisca Nofor. She is a software developer and blockchain enthusiast with many years of experience in the field of information technology. She is currently working with Blockchain Africa and the New Boston. She has worked for many organizations, both national and international, and performed excellently in her profession. She has presented in quite a number of blockchain cryptocurrency events. She is the founder, CEO of CoinRateCap. CoinRateCap is a data processing site that lists prices of all cryptocurrencies, crypto exchanges, and initial coin offerings. It also serves as a good source of information on blockchain and latest technology trends. Let me proudly invite our next speaker to share her story, Ms. Francisca Nofor. Welcome,
Hello.
Francisca.
Hello.
Yes, hello.
Hi, everyone. Yeah, it's nice to be here and have this kind of discussion that will actually encourage a whole lot of people because I have been listening to other people's stories, so I believe that by telling my own story on the journey so far, that will help to encourage other people in whatever thing they are doing. It will be an edge to their to whatever thing they plan to achieve. Okay, so my story started when I was in university. I went to University of Port Harcourt here in Nigeria. I was brought up here in Nigeria. Yeah. So after my graduation, I didn't study technology actually. I studied linguistics and communication in University of Port Harcourt. But during my fourth level in school, 400 level in school, I started growing this interest in technology. So I decided to say, okay, this time around I'm going to be a software engineer because that has always been what I wanted to do. And from being a software engineer, I discovered cryptocurrency. I discovered what blockchain is all about. So I picked up interest in cryptocurrency. At first, I did a write up about that was 11th place. That's the name of the company, 11th place. that was my new company that I came up with. So I did a project proposal to study to a company called Bank of Agriculture here in Nigeria. Can you hear me clearly? Hello? Hello?
Oh,
Yes.
Hello?
we can hear you,
Okay,
Miss
I want to be sure my
Francisca.
screen
Yes,
is
we can hear
okay.
you.
Okay,
Yeah, but
okay, okay.
your voice is breaking a little. But yes, we can go ahead. Yeah.
Okay, okay, okay. So I did a project proposal to Bank of Agriculture. They were actually looking for people who can submit an idea, a project proposal that they will want to do a sort of funding. So I wrote the project proposal under tech, and I was among the people that was chosen to come up to start up um, number three. I was number three in Nigeria, so to say. So I was given the proposal and funding for it. So eventually I
Francisca,
went
again,
into
your voice is
primary class.
breaking.
Okay. Hello, can you hear me clearly now?
Yeah, yes, yes, yes.
Hello?
Now we can hear you. Yes,
Okay.
now it is perfect.
Okay. Okay. I think I will have to hold my earpiece like this so you can hear me
Right.
clearly. So as I was saying, I was among the three people under technology that was chosen by Bank of Agriculture in Nigeria. So I was funded for the idea which I proposed. Then eventually I decided to go into coin recap. That was how coin recap started 3 years ago. So I did the proposal to Andrew, the chief economist of PwC, who also did the 3D funding for me to go ahead with the company. So that is how America was funded and I started up. So the initial thing that actually made me to start up Coinrate is due to some issues that we are seeing so far in data processing websites like my own. Like we have a lot of sites providing services like mine. So I decided to say, okay, I'm going to solve a lot of problems. What are those problems? Problems related to volume in cryptocurrency. We have a lot of trade volumes. So I decided to say, okay, I'm going to come up with an algorithm that is going to solve a problem in fake volume. And that is this idea came up recently. The initial idea has always been come up with something very accessible, very simple that will provide services to the crypto enthusiasts, people who want to check the prices of cryptocurrency, people who want to create software, people who want to do, you know, the tech and people and the blockchain and cryptocurrency enthusiasts say, oh, these are the people I focus on. These are my target market. So that was how CoinRecap was created to solve issues with fake volume, to solve issues with so many issues related to scams. You know, scams like I provide ideas, information, and algorithm in CoinRecap that you can be able to identify fake coins. You know, we've seen a lot of initial coin offering doing exit scam. We've seen a lot of exchanges doing exit scam. So the platform CoinRecap is used to inform people the latest scams, how they can identify scams, not just coming to the site to check the prices of cryptocurrency, but also to be able to identify when there's a fake volume in cryptocurrency or a fake volume in an exchange. That's number one. Then number two is acting as an information site for crypto enthusiasts and blockchain enthusiasts as well, who can be able to have access to all the necessary information and algorithm. Presently, I did another project proposal to the New Boston. The New Boston, the founder of the New Boston is Bucky Robert. Bucky Robert is a YouTube star with 2.5 million subscribers. He's a software engineer, senior software engineer, who is presently building his own blockchain. Luckily, I became part of their team, and they also requested that anyone who has a project proposal can submit their project proposal. I'm happy to say that yesterday my project proposal was actually approved. Now, in every company, in every day of our life, we try to do something to improve an existing idea. Now, I already have my ideas put in place. I already have my milestone put in place, but I needed to solve more problems because on daily basis, we see a lot of problems. Like, for instance, we see some problems with DeFi, that is decentralized finance, cryptocurrencies that we have presently. But a lot of people don't know that it's prone to hacks, unlike the normal cryptocurrency, the traditional cryptocurrencies that we have now. But the decentralized finance is prone to a lot of hacks. Now, I have come up with some ideas working with the new Boston, the programmers, as they have approved my project. I'm working with the top programmers presently to solve another problem. What are those problems? The real problems that we have now in the decentralized finance. That's number one. To also solve further problems in fake volumes, because I got to find out that on daily basis, when you try to block an issue in blockchain or block something that is causing an increase in fake volume, when you block this particular patch code, the hackers also come up with another patch code to get into the system or get into the blockchain system. I don't know if I'm making sense. Now, on daily basis, you need to keep on improving on your system in order to fight against all these issues. I've seen a lot of sites that are not actually doing what I'm doing, but I know what we are doing in order to solve all these problems, because our interest is to give our users, our site visitors, or whosoever that come for our service, all the best which they want. What are the best? In order not to fall victims, in order not to be victims, in order not to get into fake volume and lose a lot of money, which is happening in DeFi. There's a crash market, quite all right, but there's so many things that is going on that we need to put in place in CoinRateCap so that people can be able to see all the information that they need. They have access to all the information, all the algorithm, the real prices of cryptocurrency, the real prices of volume, to be able to identify exchanges with fake volume. They can be able to see danger zone ratings and a whole lot of things that we have put in place, which we are working presently to revitalize the system. So far, this is the achievement I have made so far. And my team, we've been working so hard on this, and I'm so happy that we are ready to solve the problem in the world. And I encourage the women out there that software engineering or whatever thing we are doing is not just about the men, it's about the women can actually do this. We don't always wait for the men to do this for us and all of that. It's the job of the man. And I see a lot of people who talk about, software engineer, oh my God, what is that? I can't just handle it's men that does that. I believe that women can actually get into this. They can actually solve the problem of the world. Whatever area you want to go to, is it technology, is it business, or whatever thing you want to go to, you just know where you're just I believe that and every one of us will get to the limelight. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Thank you, Francisca. That was amazing. What you said is right. Women can solve a lot of problems in the world. That was really amazing. And now we have one speaker who has been waiting from the beginning till now. Sorry, Kritika ma'am, our chief guest. We have to wait till now.
No problem. My
Really
net was
sorry,
a
ma'am.
disaster today. No problem. It's the end of the day, and I'm just going to take quickly 2 minutes. But I must say, and really well put together program, and I'm really sorry for the fiasco today. but I've been hearing all the speakers, and it's been delightful and extremely a great learning curve. So I just want to shift and the channels of discussion and leave everybody with just two thoughts, right? Inclusion from a very economic perspective is so much about skilling, right? It's so much about talent. It's so much about empowerment. A lot of conversations that we do when we talk about inclusion and diversity becomes very women centric, right? But I think its time has come to think a little more differently about it. I think we are empowered, and we have the ability today to think beyond gender and lead that way forward, right? What I mean by that is, why is inclusion important, right? And why is diversity important? And enough has been said through the last 4 hours, 5 hours about talent, education, and all of that, right? But I just think it comes down to bare thing about, we need that much skilling, we need that much talent. And if you're going to shorten that pool, it's going to become difficult from an employment perspective. It's going to become difficult from an overall empowerment perspective. I really don't want to repeat everything that has been said, but I think its time has come to think a little differently in terms of about today. We are, I'm all our associations represent different organizations. We have women entrepreneurs, we have micro organizations, medium scale organizations. I think how many of us are thinking about inclusion in the right terms? How many of us have thought about employing LGBTs? How many of us have thought about employing transgenders, right? And most of these are women-led organizations today in the audience, right? And if we ourselves are leaving out one part of the community, then where are we talking about inclusion, right? And I think that's the essence. And I think we come with the benefit of education. We come with the benefit of having that upbringing, right? And if we are not going to spread that forward and bring that education that we have to a broader forum and make it more inclusive, I think we're trying to fight a battle that we're never going to win. Right. So I just want to leave it there. It's the end of the day. I really don't want to pick anyone's brains on this, but I want to leave everyone with that thought. And, as much as technology is helping us, enabling us, if we don't improve our own mindset and build that norm of making it really inclusive, for us, I think one of the biggest challenges is cultural diversity. And the more we don't think about it, the more it's a problem. Right. And with that, I will like to just stop here about saying, let's be truly inclusive and let's see how do we build that journey.
Thank you so much, ma'am. Yes, that's a beautiful thought. That was really wonderful, and really sorry to make you wait so much.
Absolutely no problem. Thank you. It's been a total honor, and sorry about the fiasco from my end.
It's a pleasure, ma'am. We have two vibrant ladies who have been waiting to deliver the conclusion. We have Manisha Rastogi, who has been coordinating the Women in Leadership panel, and I welcome her to deliver her conclusion remarks.
Thank you. Thank you. There are 3 words which come to my mind. And you know what are those 3 words? Oh my God. The last 4 hours have been absolutely overwhelming and have been absolutely mind-blowing when it comes to the kind of, the gamut of talent that we got under one roof, that is Global's Women Business Summit. I'm in charge of giving closing remarks for the first half, but my first half closing remark I cannot proceed further without thanking Aparna, Nikita, and Mishma for just being there and, being these smiling divas who are just there, who are there to ensure that everything is happening so swiftly on Airmeet. So there are a few things, which are key takeaways of our today's session. Yeah. So like the way Kritika ma'am had said, I'm not going to get into too many details. I'm just going to leave you with 5 very important lines. One, a woman is like a tea bag. You never know how strong it is until it is hot in water. This is spoken by Dr. Poonam Malik. Don't delimit yourself. Spoken by Dr. Reema Chaudhary. She remembered who she was and the game changed. Lara Khalaf. Your mantra is your fight song. Dr. Ruby Bakshi. My time and presence needs to be in existence together to get the balance. Again, Lara Khalaf. And last one, which I think is extremely powerful. Disruptions come for a woman because she is a woman. So I think it's just been awesome, and I'm really privileged and honored to put myself for these 4-5 hours and be here. And I hand over to my lovely co-coordinator Vandana. Thank you so much, people.
Yes, so let me invite Vandana to give her closing remarks.
Thank you so much, you amazing girls. And I, for one, was very apprehensive about the kind of evening of 4 lengthy hours. And I can't imagine a more productive day that I've had over the last 4 hours. Such an iconic evening. In how many forums you have women from 3 continents coming together and giving you such powerful insights. I will also take a lead and not take too much time. I will focus on 2 points. One, these women have really worked hard, reached at the top of the summit, in, ensured that it is a more inclusive world, less diverse. And once they're there, they're lending a hand to the people who are out there. Can we extend it ahead? Can we extend it to people below us and take everyone along so that no one is left at the bottom? We're all there at the top, holding each other's hand. And the final point, can we extend this inclusiveness not only to women but the other lower minority groups so that we have a truly inclusive society? Thank you so much for an amazing evening. Thank you.
Thank you, Vandana. Wow, what an amazing day. I think our coordinators have summed it so well. And as our speaker said, we all have immense potential. Let us all believe in ourselves and let us not compromise. And as Manisha summed up and as Lara said, let us all remember who we really are, and then we can really change the game. I take this opportunity to thank all our beautiful women out there who worked day in and day out to make this summit a huge success. And also, we take this opportunity to thank all the partners for supporting us for this summit. Thank you so much to everyone who joined us today. We have a more power-packed session tomorrow, requesting all of you to join us at 5:30 p.m. Thank you and good night.
And to end the session, at the end, I would like to quote Sam as she said, "Meet me up the hill." See you tomorrow.
Exactly. Thank you so much and good night. Vishma, are you there?
Yes, I'm here.
Yeah, we are live still.
Yes, we are live. Just playing some of the videos of CIMSM. Yes.
You girls were so amazing. I've got no words to say this. Truly,
Vandana, we are
truly.
live still. We are live still.
I know. So perfectly all right. You
Yeah,
deserve
great.
you
Thank you so
deserve
much. Thank
all
you.
accolades that you can get on camera. Congratulations to a great day. Looking forward to the session.